So what's wrong with Dr. Peterson's views on the Bible? Dr. Peterson seemed to give away his inner psychological structure when he's describing other people's philosophies. He mentioned how Hitler co-evolved with his audience, that the latter's applauses and silences shaped the former's development. He sees his Genesis as some of his most popular works, and he is now looking to resume this task. As a religious Jew, I find this highly problematic. He sees himself as an explorer of a deep and untapped topic, and certainly it is. He is a pioneer in his own eyes, but he is not the first one to try to decipher the Bible. He's in fact on the tail end of a long Protestant Christian tradition that has deliberately done away with all canonical commentaries and interpretations associated with the Bible. The Catholics have their oral tradition, the Protestants don't. However, people from none of these traditions were the actual intended audience of the Bible. Peterson has an abiding disregard of history, whether it is in understanding social justice issues, or in this case, the Torah. He's currently surrounded himself with yes-men, who no doubt have their own agendas in spreading their own ideologies. Peterson remains ignorant of the historical censorship and oppression against Jews, where Jews would be killed for speaking about the religion in the West, for fear of converting good Christians. This is not to speak about the repeated pogroms and the deeply entrenched biases against the Torah, that it is a book of rigidity, barbarity, that it is a people ruled by a capricious, malevolent God. However, none of this is the case when you actually try to understand the Torah. The Torah is the foundational text of Judaism. It is also the foundational text of Christianity and Islam. The truth of the latter religions are predicated on Judaism. These three belief systems, Judaism is the only one that is the furthest from a quote-unquote faith system, because its basis is the most empirical. It is based on a mass national revelatory event, which was described in the text itself. Rabbi Kellerman makes the full argument in another video. It says in Exodus, "And the Lord said to Moses, Behold, I'm coming to you in the thickness of the cloud, in order that the people hear when I speak to you, and they will believe in you forever." And Moses relayed the words of the people to the Lord. The people were so distressed by this revelation, it is said in oral tradition, that their souls actually left their body at this tremendous experience, that they said to Moses, "You speak with us, and we will hear, but let God not speak with us, lest we die." It was then followed by an unbroken tradition, a tradition of religious leadership that you can deduce from the text itself. An oral tradition accompanied it, without which the instructions of the Torah would be vague. The Torah is a book of teachings, and without precise prescriptions in law, the nation of Israel would have tremendous difficulty keeping its commandments. For example, it says in Devarim, "You shall bind them as a sign upon your hand, and they shall be a reminder between your eyes." What on earth is totophos? What does it look like? Does it have color? Is it a Jungian archetype? To all but the last questions, yes. It is black, it's a square box, it can't be bigger than 40 millimeters, and it can't be smaller than 31 millimeters. But it's not a Jungian archetype. These dimensions are exact. The same goes with how to keep the Sabbath, how to slaughter an animal in a kosher way, and so on. None of these, Dr. Peterson, are up to your interpretation. If you open a Gemara, you will find that the sages prior to the current exile discussed and argued and sharpened the minutest detail of the Torah. So it is a bit more than blasé that you and the Christians before you come and tell us what our text means. If learning what came before you is dogmatic, then why do you consider yourself a scholar? Innovation has to actually be innovative.